And hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of the Cosmic Gas Station podcast with Charlie and Billy. I am Charlie Thomas.
And I am Billy Eli.
We have been doing this now officially for 1 week. Technically for 2. We recorded a demo episode, but we, I consider last week to be the world premiere. But I've been spending the last week learning some things about social media engagement, and this is
We're gonna jump right in, are we?
apparently, before we go into the actual topics for the week we planned for the week. I did what any podcast producer should do. I posted clips to social media, and I have noticed that we get a lot more engagement when we say something sucks than if we say it's good.
Well, man, you're talking about that Steely Dan thing we did last week.
Yes, Steely Dan fans take it personally when you. They really take it personally when you say Steely Dan is.
Well, and to be fair, that would be any group that would be their fans. Here was the thing. We didn't even really say that they suck.
Oh, no, I said they suck.
Well,
I said very plainly.
You said you didn't. You said that they were like you hated them. They were your least favorite band, and that's okay. The cool thing about music is it's subjective, and it's what speaks to you. Here was the thing in the clips, and I didn't read a bunch of the comments, man, because sorry, man, I don't have time for that, but I had a bunch of people directing hate at me like I had said that they sucked. Here was the thing. I had a couple of their albums, and I can name 10 songs of theirs that I like. I don't hate them. I will give you that some of their songs sound like yacht rock, and that's what we were talking about.
You are correct that a lot of music fans will defend their favorite bands, to the point of obsession almost. But I have never seen anything nearly like the vitriol we've gotten, just from a couple of 2-second clips where I said something untoward about Steely Dan.
Because we hadn't said anything about anybody with, a bigger, fatter, broader following, So if we say, Tom Petty sucks. Sounds like a cut rate fucking Dylan, man.
See, I always...
if you start saying that kind of shit and you start, bringing out, start doing that. Put this in a clip and watch what happens.
Two things I want to make clear. One, Billy and I, not both of us love Tom Petty. Neither of us think Tom Petty sucks.
I'm his biggest fan.
Yeah. And two, I always thought he sounded more like a cut rate Roger McGuinn.
Well, kind of, but, either way, if you put that thing we just did in a clip, well, look at the hate we get.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not even ripping on him. I'm just making an observation that some of this stuff got a little nasally and kind of way up here. And
I will say this. When we did that, when we went after Journey's Jonathan Cain, nobody came to the defense of Journey.
It's Journey. Who the fuck cares?
Nobody.
And I didn't pipe up, but I also don't like Journey. Although I do like some of Steve Perry's solo stuff.
Yeah, I will give you that. Oh, Sherry is a great song. It's not.
I liked his voice. I thought he could sing. I thought his material was pretty good. Didn't dig Journey as a collective, man.
No, the too many cooks in the band there. Too many people thinking they're the leader.
Yeah, and Okay, I'm fixing to get us a bunch of hate. Well, their lead player, Neil Sean,
Yeah.
not so much.
Although Neil Schon has the chops. I mean, he was recruited to join Carlos Santana at like 17.
And again, mm,
But then again, I'm not the biggest Carlos Santana fan either.
yeah, that was the I just made. But I
Yeah.
wasn't going to say what you just said.
But yeah, that was the big lesson. That was the big lesson. Saying something sucks gets you more engagement than saying it's good.
Well, and actually that's pretty good. Because here's the thing. That's actually a good thing. And here's why. I like a lot of music. And I like a lot of different kinds of music. And I try to find something that I like about everything that I listen to. But there's way more shit that I don't like or
Oh
don't
yeah.
or don't care about that doesn't impact, makes no dent at all than things that I actually like. So, yeah, the fact that negative perception of some band is going to get me a bunch of heat, yeah, I don't care. Again, it's not like if what we were ripping on the Stones or Tom Petty, which we're going to get accused of doing because of that little clip bait I just made. But yeah, and and come on, man. The format of this show is it's a cosmic gas station, and we're two late middle-aged guys just sort of sitting, pointing out stuff and how we feel about it.
Yeah, I mean we're basically shooting the shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because we were going to have these conversations anyway. It was just going to be nobody else could listen, so
Yeah,
might as well people
we were
listen
going
in.
to do them via text. Yeah.
A brief update on something we covered in the demo episode. Just a refresher, because if you didn't hear it, we talked about the Charlie Crockett fiasco.
I was about to ask, is this a Charlie Crockett update?
This is well, it's not a Charlie Crockett update. It's a Twin Temple update. But let me
hadn't their career fucking hit a booster rocket?
let me refresh everyone's recollection, because I'm sure not many people actually listened to the demo episode. But Charlie Crockett is a country singer who had been coming up through the indie ranks and is now sitting at that point in his career where he can go big or stay indie. And he booked a band called Twin Temple to open a few shows on his tour, and then quickly canceled the bookings because he found out, allegedly found out, not that they're allegedly satanic. He found out they're satanic. And he said, I don't deal with Satanists. Oh, they're absolutely.
That in all their stuff.
Yeah.
But don't think like, I don't know, man, Ozzy or Iron Maiden, they're like satanic. What'd you call them? A satanic Patsy Cline?
Yeah, Twin Temple sound like a satanic Patsy Cline. The singer has a really wonderful voice.
Yeah,
but
I thought of them as a satanic doo-wop band. But the material was good and the vocals are good.
That's what they called themselves. They called themselves Satanic Doo-Wop. And the backlash was not directed against Twin Temple. The backlash was directed at Charlie Crockett. He's been chased off of social media, and now, and this is the update I'm getting to, they are having a meteoric rise. They were on the Daily Show this week.
And they're going opening for Jack White from the White Stripes.
They opened for Jack White. They're opening for Danzig in Europe. They have a new record coming out that will probably sell pretty well, just off the basis of this controversy. And ironically,
fluffle.
Yes, and ironically, I was in the car today and I had my phone plugged in and I was just streaming a pre-generated Apple Music playlist. I think they call it the country. I think they call it the Southern Pickers playlist. It's an Americana playlist. And
Okay.
this song came on that I'd never heard before, and I wasn't too big a fan of. And I just pick up my phone to look at who does it, and it's like, oh, it's Charlie Crockett. Skip.
Know anything at all about him. I had never even heard of him until you sent me the article about this kerfluffle happening.
Yeah.
But I read the response that he put up on whatever social he's using. It wasn't Facebook. I forwarded it to you.
Yeah.
And here was the thing. His explanation of why he did that was so contrived.
Well, I don't think
so
anyone
hokey and so just absolutely fucking cringe, man.
And I don't think anyone actually believes it. There's no way he could not have known what their music was about. They have a song literally called Let's Have a Satanic Orgy.
They share a record producer.
Yes.
The same guy, Shooter Jennings, produced both of their albums.
There is no way he didn't know. So
I agree with your original assessment. This was a publicity stunt.
And it backfired.
It did. And he meant it to be a dog whistle to, Nashville corporate country. I call them the cosplay working man guys. None of them are, but they pretend like they were. And it was a dog whistle to them that I will suck your dick if you will make me a huge arena star, and the money just rolls in train cars.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And I can be a steadfast Christian outlaw cowboy.
My take on all of this is Merle Haggard would have kicked his ass.
Hell, dude. Davy Jones from the Monkees would have kicked his ass.
And on that note, let's get into the actual meat of this week's show. Davy Jones could kick his ass, and Davy Jones has been dead for 10 years. So
I personally feel like Davy Jones would be a scarier fight now than when he was alive.
Well, yeah, he's coming at you from the undead.
Right.
Yeah. Only one monkey left. Mickey Dolenz is the last one left. And he still tours.
Here's the cool thing about Mickey Dolenz, man, that people miss, because they were the Monkees and it was Sunshine Pop and all that bullshit. I thought the best songwriter was Michael Nesmith.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think any other songwriters out there would protest that too much. He wasn't the best guitar player. Peter Tork, I thought, was a little better guitar player. He's a folk guy.
Yep.
But
I'll give you that. I'll buy that.
Dolenz was the best rock star, man. He participated in them Lost Weekends with Harry Nilsson and John Lennon, and
that's right.
A lot of that shit got skipped over, man, because they were still trying to maintain that he was this clean cut kind of guy. No, man, that fucker was a goddamn animal, man.
And never forget, they had the foresight and taste to book Jimi Hendrix as their opening act on a tour in '67.
And wasn't he in part of that movie they did called Head?
That I don't know.
I think he featured prominently in that. And
I know Jack Nicholson was in Head.
But that was them guys trying to be the real musicians that they were, as opposed to, the media creations that they were being sold as. And before, I know we're going to jump off, and I don't want to get into this too much, man, because I could argue this forever. I always thought Mickey Dolenz got a bad rap. He's a solid drummer, and he's a great singer. I mean,
yeah.
he is a solid rock and roll drummer.
I'll give you that.
But when you get kind of that slop of a teenage teenager show thrown on you, man, that shit's hard to get away from.
And probably one of the longer lasting legacies of the Monkees was that the producers realized that when you have a fake TV band consisting of real people, the real people are going to have egos and personalities that want to make themselves available. The Monkees opened the door to the Archies, which was just a cartoon.
All that was Don Kirshner, right?
Yep.
It was all the same guy. And Kirshner decided, man, animated guys don't fight back.
Exactly. And I will hand to God put this to the grave. Sugar, Sugar is a great song.
It is. And let me also say, one of my favorite songs and songwriters ever is Michael Martin Murphey.
Okay.
And he wrote Wildfire, and he wrote a bunch of other really great songs.
Didn't he
wrote a song for the Monkees that got on
What Am I Doing Hanging Around?
That got on their album because he was from Dallas, in the same area that Papa Nez was from, and they were friends and co-writers. And then Michael Martin Murphey moves back to the Southwest, not L.A., and does Wildfire, and is part of the whole redneck rock thing that happened out of Austin in the early 70s, and then later went on to just do great cowboy music. But he's an awesome songwriter.
Yeah, he is. Which this is a great time to transition to the big music story of the week. Glenn Hansard passing away.
Sadly, I don't know more about him. I know he was Irish. You couldn't even really call it folk, although I think he gets clumped in the folk thing. But I know he was involved with that movie, The Commitments.
He was in The Commitments. He won an Oscar for his movie Once. Now, like you, I don't actually know all that much about him. I learned more about him after he died. When that second movie Once came out, it was huge, but I was not in a good place in my life, and I wasn't paying attention to music or movies at the time. My dad had just passed away, and I was kind of a mess. But he won an Oscar for Falling Slowly for Best Song from the movie Once, and it is an absolutely fantastic, amazing song. It is delicate. It is heart-wrenching. It is everything you want out of a. It is everything you want out of an emotional experience with respect to a song.
Right.
And he died way too young. 56 is my age.
I was thinking to say, man, he's in his middle late 50s. And car crash, right? Single car crash.
Motorcycle accident.
Motorcycle. Okay. Yeah. I saw a roadway accident was. Yeah. Damn, man. Him and Don Rich.
Don Rich. Got to stay off the motorcycles.
I won't own one.
I'm too cowardly. I fall on my bicycle too many times to ride a motorcycle.
Hell, dude, my age, I fucking fall walking to the bathroom.
Well, with all that Lone Star and tequila you've been drinking.
That's why I like horses, man. They can stand up no matter what shape I'm in.
Other big music story of the week. Neither of us are into, and this is not a dig against the music because it's clearly not directed at us. It's for much younger listeners.
Talking about shit at a gas station, man.
At a metaphorical gas station because we're actually BTS. K-pop band BTS is boycotting the Grammys over a new category, Best Asian Pop, which they say ghettoizes and others music from Asia as opposed to just be calling it what it is, which is pop music. They sing a lot of their stuff in English. So, and without a noticeable accent, if you I've heard one or two songs, and like I said, not my taste, but not written for me, not directed at me.
Here's all I know about that style of music. I remember Gangnam Style, or however you say that, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no commitment to the music, but I do have to respect them for taking a position that, frankly, could cost them actual dollars. You know, an appearance at the Grammys is going to turn into record sales, is going to turn into concert sales,
Yeah,
and
but so will thumbing your nose at the ground.
that is true. And it's not like
Remember that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
yes, pulling a
And
little
all you
Isaac.
need to remember is the Rolling Stones versus the Beatles.
Well, this,
And then those guys were friends, and they were publicly appeared to be pitted against each other
Yeah.
because, well, the Beatles were clean and fluffy, and the Stones were hardcore street guys. No, they fucking weren't. No, they really fucking weren't.
And it's not like the Grammys have a spotless record. I mean, 1970 Album of the Year, Blood, Sweat, and Tears won, but the other big nominee that year was Abbey Road. And 56 years on, there's no comparison between the two.
There's certainly not any comparison on which is held up the best.
I mean, I get what was happening. The Grammys, at their heart, are an industry award. It's an industry award show, and the Beatles had just broken up, and Blood, Sweat, and Tears just had this, and it was legitimately good album. Just had this big record that sold massive amounts, and it was an all new sound, this rock with a horn section sound. So they gave it to what they thought was the future. Only I can't name. Let's see, Spinning Wheel. You Make Me So Very Happy.
That's the only Blood, Sweat, and Tears song I can think of, man.
I can name two. Spinning Wheel and You Make Me So Very Happy.
Oh, was that them?
That was them.
Okay.
You make me so very happy. Yeah.
I'm so glad you came into. Yeah, see, that sounded like that could have been like a backing track for like Al Jarreau or somebody.
And yeah, I mean, it's very much of its time. Let's put it like that. It's very much of its time.
Yeah, which was what, 1970?
Album came out 69. The award show is 1970.
Right.
And the Grammys, they made Milli Vanilli Best New Artist one year, and then had to take it away when they were revealed to be.
That one guy wore blue contacts.
He did have good hair.
I heard an interview with Todd Rundgren, who has done some stuff that I really like. I can't count myself as a huge Todd Rundgren fan, but just because it's not my cup of tea, he has done some things that I really like.
Todd Rundgren
produced it, some of it. He sang on some of it, wrote some of it.
Todd Rundgren, I think, is great.
Yeah,
and he's from my area where I live. I live in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, Upper Darby, which is the next town over.
I drove through there one time on my way to somewhere else.
The one thing I will say about the Grammys is that they somehow managed to pick the right country music, but it pisses off the Nashville establishment every time.
Todd, let's unpack that. Let's finish with Milli Vanilli. When they won that, I saw this little clip of an interview with Todd Rundgren. He went, good for them. They really ought to just break the categories down to stuff like best hair, best shoes,
the Grammys being so pop-centric and so image-centric, I could see that.
Dude, that was back in like the 80s, maybe the early 90s.
Oh, that was the 80s. I was in high school when Milli Vanilli came out.
Late 80s, early 90s. Again, there's about 6 years there that kind of blur together for me.
Well, you were in your early 20s trying to make it on
And
the music scene.
I was getting closer to my late 20s and early 30s, and I was doing a lot of road gigs. The band, kind of a roots rock band. We weren't good enough to be country yet, but we could do roots garage rock. We were touring a lot, and I drank a lot and did a lot of cocaine. So yeah, that's what I remember from that time period. I remember having no money.
I wonder why.
I know, man. It's a mystery. It's a fucking mystery.
The one thought I wanted to get in there about the Grammys is that they really pick all the things in the country world that pisses off Nashville.
Yeah, and I wanted to dive a little deeper on that. Keep going.
When I remember one year with no support from corporate Nashville, best male country performance went to Lyle Lovett and best female country performance went to K.D. Lang, both of whom were like on the outs in Nashville and had nobody there at the CMAs, the Country Music Awards. Most recently, I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago, Sturgill Simpson won Best Country Album for something. And I think
he's about as pure as you can still be, man.
And he is honestly one of my favorite Americana country artists right now.
He's solid.
He is great. And
I mean, he's no Zach Brown doing come inside.
Oh, God. Well, he's not willing to play that game.
I just gave myself a headache.
And I remember at the CMAs a couple of years ago, Sturgill Simpson did this stunt where he set up as a street musician outside the arena where the CMAs were being held in Nashville with his Grammys in the guitar case.
Oh, I love that, man.
Yeah, his bluegrass records are really good too. Cutting Grass, volumes 1 and 2.
And again, I don't want to fight with anybody. I know this is going to spark a fight. Not a bluegrass fan.
Really? Because we've talked about...
I can listen to it for about 15 minutes.
I love bluegrass, and I don't know where that came from. Actually, I do know where that came from. It came from Molly Tuttle. She was my point of entry back into it because I had read an article in Acoustic Guitar magazine. No, it was Guitar Player magazine.
Player.
And she had just released Crooked Tree. And I said, "Oh, okay, I will go check this out." And I was blown away. Absolutely blown away. And that got me into Billy Strings, got me into Sierra Hull.
I like all of them as players.
And
I do not care for it as a genre, man. I'm good with it for 15 or 20 minutes.
And the new guys got me into the old guys. So I love it. I love it. I went out and bought a big-ass Dreadnought to play it with, and then I remembered I'm not actually a very good guitar player.
Yeah, but you got that big old guitar.
I got several big old guitars. One of these years I'm going to go to Delfest, the Del McCoury Festival in Maryland.
Yeah, and they worked with Steve Earle quite a bit back in the day. I don't know if they're still doing that.
There has been a falling out, and I don't know the details, but Steve Earle did an album with the Del McCoury Band, and it's one of my favorite records. It was actually a bluegrass record I loved before getting into bluegrass because I was a Steve Earle fan. But something made Del and Steve not want to talk to each other anymore.
You don't think Steve Earle's overrated? Okay,
he probably
go any further. Let me just say, I'm doing this for clickbait. I am a huge fan of Steve Earle.
I think Steve Earle is overrated, but only because he is so good. He can't possibly be as good as people rate him to be, especially when you consider his story and how he so always sort of existed on the fringes.
But look at the guys, man, and this is not trying to blot his talent. He is brilliant. Man, how cool would it have been to hung out with the guys he hung out with, which were guys like Towns Van Zandt and Rodney Crowell and
Yep.
Guy Clark. And, and you're a young guy playing with these dudes, man. I mean, there's no fucking way that doesn't have an impact of some kind.
He did develop kind of an ego early on, but he seems to have lost the super huge ego in the process of getting clean.
Well, life will beat the shit out of you like that, man.
Especially when you're heroin addicted.
Man, I don't even think you have to be that. Just live a normal goddamn life for 50 or 60 years and it'll humble your ass.
Oh, that is true.
I mean, you don't have to have a heroin addiction. Just life itself will beat the hell out of you.
That is true. And in fact, something I said to someone today, in fact, was adulthood is just one long series of disappointments interrupted by occasional good things happening.
Well, you know my sideline. Now, for anybody out there watching, I have a side hustle, man. I have a master's degree in mental health counseling, and I'm a therapist. And I deal with a lot of men's issues, and the ones I deal with the most are underlying anxiety and chronic fucking anger, because damn, don't a lot of men have that. But I was going to make a point about that. The reason therapy don't work on so many of them guys is, man, when you have to start delving down into that shit, life humbles you. And a lot of men absolutely refuse to be humble, so they go off into some made-up thing that they did where they don't have to be humble. They get to be big, tough, strong John Wayne-like men.
Yeah.
And that ain't real life, guys.
That is not real life. But a lot of guys want to play at it like that.
Well, they don't want to be humbled because they think that'll make them gay. Like drinking almond milk, or going to the ballet, or listening to Katie Lang.
The list of things that guys seem to think will make them gay is ridiculous. There's some guys who are like wash.
No,
what?
You are correct.
I don't wash my ass because it'll make me gay. No, what's going to make you do is smell like shit. Wash your ass.
Right, just go ahead and wash your ass, man. And if somebody comes up and goes, "Hey, you washed your ass. Do you want to be gay?" and you don't want to be, just go, "Nah, man, I don't want to be gay. I'm good, but I needed to wash my ass."
Yeah. There are worse things to be than a guy struggling with his sexuality. There are few worse things to be than a guy who smells like he just took a dump in his pants.
Like he doesn't wash his ass.
Yeah.
Well, and again, as somebody in his mid-20s that lived a lot of my life in a van with 4 other guys that were in a rock band. Nah, man, I believe in hygiene.
Driving through Texas and Oklahoma and Louisiana in the middle of summer in a van without air conditioning.
How'd you know we didn't have an air conditioner?
Because no garage rock band in their 20s, the van has air conditioning. Not back then.
We had a Ford 100 series van that was the 3 on the tree that had belonged to the telephone company, and some employee that worked for the telephone company had bought that from them, and it was sitting out back of his house up on blocks, and we traded 2 junked out amplifiers for it. That was our first touring vehicle. And then we spent about $300 getting a battery, and it had to have some rotors because they were rusted in 2, and 4 tires. And we drove that thing for 6 years and named it the Road Camel.
Okay, that you should write a memoir about your life on the road.
Nope.
So
I've gone through a lot of therapy to not remember that shit in great detail.
next up on our rundown, and this was something you wanted to talk about. You wanted to talk a little bit about politics, but not politics as people and places and what's going on, but like the general climate.
The general thing that's going on, man. And let me just say, I hadn't actually read an honest to God news article in probably 2 years because they all just say the same shit. Sadly, news articles have turned into top 40 radio. They get a thing and they just kind of spin that thing and they do it for a cycle, and then another thing comes out. And you're not getting any actual information, and it was having kind of the same effect on me that us saying Steely Dan was a yacht rock band had on their fans. I was finding my blood pressure spiking, and I'm watching all this shit now about, well, we're at this we're coming up on a historic election and the fate of the country and yada and blah, and come give my dick a couple yanks. And here's something, man. I think everybody should be concerned. And I think everybody ought to just kind of relax, because whatever's going to happen, man, that got tripped off 4 or 5 years ago, man. Nothing that we do in November is going to change any fucking thing.
See, I'm not.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm not that pessimistic. I believe that there's still a way forward that's through the ballot box and not, the ammo box. But every day it just seems we get a little farther away from what makes us, or what made us, special for so many years.
I don't think it's an ammo box or ballot box or ammo box. I don't think them are our only choices. I think what's going to happen is we're going to stay about on the same track that we've been on for 20 years. And inertia is eventually just going to grind the whole damn thing to a halt. And when it does, everybody will go, man, this ain't fucking working. We need to reorganize. And then I think you'll see. Yeah, and I want to watch saying this, man, because I was under surveillance once by the FBI. I don't want to do that again. But I think then, man, the states will just break up, and the ones that have common interest will clump together, and it'll be more like Europe, and that's what I think will happen.
Okay, hold on a second.
The FBI surveillance thing.
Yeah. What about what was up with that?
I was in a band one time with a bass player named Joe Stack. Do you know this story?
I do not know this story. Name doesn't sound familiar.
Handy, man. Google him real quick, and I'll tell you. I had only recently stopped playing in a band with him, and when all that I was actually on the road. I was on my way to a gig in Birmingham, Alabama when that happened. And I started getting tons of fucking phone calls. And I was like, there's no way. And it was all from press and Good Morning America and shit like that. And I was like, man, I know they're not covering this fucking lounge gig I'm playing in Birmingham.
Is Joe Stack the Andrew Joseph Stack III who crashed a plane into an IRS building in Austin?
It is. And I would rather not go into that anymore, other than to say I was under FBI surveillance for a little while.
We'll talk about this privately, because I'm
not even going out of my way to try to do interesting shit.
to say the very least. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that happened.
I'm really caught off guard here, so I'm just gonna look at the outline and go to the next topic on it, which is Mitch McConnell alive?
He's not.
I don't think so either.
You know what? I shouldn't say that. Technically, probably his heart's still beating because they got him wired to all kinds of shit. So you can tell he's not in my family. Because if he were in my family, they would show up and unplug everything except the cable TV.
Well, you got to have the cable.
Right.
If he were actually alive and recuperating, the simplest thing to do would just be to wheel him out for a presser, give a short statement in front of actual humans, and then wheel him back.
No, man,
but
his brain and everything else went to fucking be with Jesus or whoever.
That's what I think is going on. And
let me put a sideline on this. When I say be with Jesus, I'm not a believer, but anytime anything of mine, like if I break a guitar cable, that cable went to heaven to be with guitar cable Jesus.
All right. That's a good saying. Guitar cable Jesus. Sure, I'll buy that.
Or battery Jesus, or snort Jesus, or
no. I got you. I got you. Related to McConnell, is he alive or dead? What's up with Trump? Is he in full on dementia?
Well, yeah, man. I mean, and you don't even have to be a mental health professional to see that.
Well, yeah, but you know,
he does a cool thing that I do it when I have to. I very rarely have to be interviewed anymore, you know, for music or anything. But when I do, man, the rule I always had was this: I don't answer the question they ask. I give the answer I want to give, regardless of what the question is. And Trump does a variation of that, but it wanders all over the fucking place, man.
Yep.
It's not, you know, hey, you know, your last record was a little more sort of traditional hillbilly. You know, are you getting back to your roots? Well, man, you know, I'm not going to say I ever got away from my roots, man. I wouldn't think that. You know, I did this, and then you give the answer you want to give. The answers he wants to give, man, it's like if you had a gibbon monkey that shit in his hand and threw it against the white wall. It's everywhere, man. I tell you what, man, as a mental health professional, the thing that really jumps out at me about him is, first of all, man, everybody wants to talk about his narcissism and all that's real, but goddamn, he has baked that victimhood mentality onto him. I mean, when the press is praising him for shit, he doesn't just go, "Yeah, I'm the greatest ever." He brings up all the way people have wronged him.
That is part of his worldview.
Yeah,
and everything gets filtered through his personal grievance.
right.
And when your brain is basically pudding to begin with,
Right.
you know, personal grievance and imagined slights, real and imagined insults no longer actually become distinct.
Here's the thing that I always say as a therapist, and actually I learned this way before I was ever a therapist, man. I learned this. I have family members that are deeply religious. And I mean, that insane evangelical weird ass shit that you see on the news. The spirit comes on them and they speak in tongues and they fall on the floor and all that shit. And it's been 30 years, but I did deal with some of them. And they were like, well, man, you should go to church. And I told them, like, I'm not a believer. You don't believe in God. And so I don't believe in anything that you can't show me physical proof of. And especially something like God that has been so misinterpreted by so many people for so long. And no, I don't. And then their next question is, you don't think God's real? And my answer is always, it's real to you. You know, the same way the
That
boogeyman under the bed is real to a 4-year-old.
that's the thing. Just because God may or may not exist has no bearing on whether or not God is or is not real.
Because it's real to the people that really believe in it. And
Yeah.
that's Trump's thing. Is it nuts? Yeah. Is it real? To him, it is. Is it
Um,
reality based? It is not.
he still has that core of people who will follow him into anything, and I don't think a lot of them are we're not able to reach them. We're not able to
No,
at
that's
this
part of my thing. Just give it up.
at this point the 35% who adore him will just continue to adore him.
I think it's probably a couple points less than that, but that's me quibbling.
Well,
No,
he
you're right.
did.
And here's the thing: just give that up.
Yeah.
You're not going to reach them. They don't want to be reached. And again, I always tell people, man, I don't get to tell you what is traumatic to you. The same way I don't get to tell you what you believe, and I don't get to tell you what you think is helping you out. And that's the thing I see, man, with people wanting to argue with them. Quit, man. You're pissing up a fucking well road. You know, they're never going to see it from you. Their experience, their education, their worldview, their lived life, all that shit's different than yours. And they're never going to see it your way.
Did you just say they're pissing up a whale rope?
Well rope, you know, like a water
A
well.
well rope. I'm like, what the fuck is a whale rope?
I'm sure it's something.
Reminds me of okay, you may or may not know them. Ween is a stoner rock band. Have you heard of them?
Aren't they from like Bucks County?
They're from very near me. They're from Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
They did the theme from South Park, going down South Park. Wasn't it them?
No, that's Primus. That was
Okay.
Primus.
Aren't
No,
they also
Ween.
from Bucks County?
I don't know where Primus is from.
I think
But,
they're from Bucks County.
I'd have to look that up. But Ween,
Yeah.
one of their records, they actually went to Nashville and they did a record called 12 Golden Country Greats, and they just got all these great Nashville session players to play on Ween tracks. And one of the songs from that album, and I love this song, is called Piss Up a Rope.
Yeah, same thing. No, and I got those two bands confused, man. Promises from California. No, I knew Wayne was. You know what? I'm disremembering that. They had a tune on the Chef Aid album.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how I confuse that. But yeah,
I'll buy that.
They're from Bucks County, man.
Yep. You occasionally run into them around New Hope.
The first time me and you ever met was in New Hope. I had a gig there.
That's right. That's right. I remember that. That
I was
was
playing with a trio, man.
that was like 8 years ago. First time we met face to
Oh shit,
face.
that was longer ago than that. I've been here 8 years. It was like 12 years ago, man.
Okay. I don't think we knew each other that long.
Yeah, we have.
Last up on the rundown, we always talk about baseball because you and I are baseball fans.
Yeah, and I'm starting to question that.
It'll break, yeah, I get that. But I only found this story this morning. Giants outfielder Harrison Bader, who has been he's a former Met, he has been on the DL for a while.
Right.
They are suspending his salary while he's on the DL because
Was this a scooter guy?
while recuperating from his baseball injuries, he rode one of those electric scooters into a fire truck and wound up extending his time on the injured list, on the disabled list by considerable.
For the extra extension.
No, they were like, you did this to yourself. Fuck you. We're not paying for that. So they cut him off, and now he has to recuperate on his own nickel. I mean, I guess he still has his health insurance, but they're not paying his salary while he's on the DL because of what he did.
I gotta tell you, man, for me right now, it's really tough being a baseball fan.
Why? Because of stupid shit like that, or just because the
No,
Royals
man,
are
my
losing?
two favorite teams are the Royals and the Mets.
No, yeah, they are both having shit years. I'll give you that.
They're having the same shit year. And let me just say, the Mets, their front office fucked them, man. They let 30% of their offense walk, and I am not a lifelong Mets fan like you, but I've been following them for 10 years or so. So I'm used to the front office doing stupid shit that fucks them. They do that every 4 or 5 years.
You started following the Mets because I follow the Mets. It's
because we were talking about baseball. Yeah,
and you have maybe 10 years of having your heart broken by this team. I've had 50 plus years of having my heart broken by this team. The stupid front office moves that they've done over the last, and I'm not even counting things like trading Tom Seaver, right?
dude,
He was at the end of his contract. They had to
Pete
let him go.
Alonso walk.
They let Pete Alonso walk.
Nimmo.
They traded Nimmo away.
Yeah, for what?
Not that much.
Anybody that's making an impact? Nope.
No, they're the two best players on the team this year are both rookies they called up.
And I'm afraid they're going to get rid of Lindor.
I do not think that Lindor is going. They are, if there's an offer that comes in for him, they will consider it, but this is a big seller's market as we approach the trade deadline. And
yeah, but I mean, man, he is an elite shortstop.
He is, which is why they're not going to trade him simply because they're not going to be able to get sufficient value back for him.
Right. If he leaves, it'll be because somebody made him a big offer and they won't match.
Right. I think he is with this team for the foreseeable. But yeah, there are not many.
Are the Royals,
and they're in the same position.
Except their front office didn't fuck them, man. They got a roster full of talent, and man, it's really easy to second guess the manager, but he does not seem to know how to deal with high stress situations.
Point is, there's really only like 4 teams selling on the seller's market for trades, because with the expanded playoffs, nobody's out of contention.
Right.
Only like 5 clubs are out of contention. One of them are the Tigers, and it is clear they are going to move Tarek Skubal. He is in the last year of his contract. They are not going to renew it because they can't afford him when he goes up for free agency next year, and they want to get something in return. So they're going.
Last year, I hadn't followed them as close this year because I hadn't followed baseball in general as close since both my goddamn teams are out of it. But he was red hot last year.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of life left in his arm. He had a couple of bad outings this year, but the Tigers have sort of, they're not competitive this year. So he hasn't really gotten the run support.
Hey, we got about 5 minutes left, man. What do you think about we talked about a potential lockout, I think, at one point. We were talking about a salary cap and a salary floor, man. What are your thoughts on that?
2 separate thoughts. One, there will be no season in 2027.
Okay.
The lockout is going to happen, and they're not going to resolve it. The season will basically be a wash. I'm pretty confident about that. 2, there absolutely needs to be a salary floor, And I'm not opposed to the idea of a salary cap. It needs to be higher than where the owners have suggested setting it. But a salary cap would help greatly level the playing field. But I don't want to see baseball turn into the NFL. I don't want to see everybody basically sitting at 500.
Right.
You know, I want to see those special teams break out and have those 100-win seasons. And yes, the flip side of that is also true. I want to see those teams that, you know, the bottom fell out and have 100-loss season.
Yeah, well, we're seeing that up close, aren't we?
Yes, we are. And the irony is, at least as far as the Mets are concerned, they have a super huge salary obligation this year, and they're just not winning. So it's not necessarily proof positive that the more you spend, the better you do.
No, and I put that on their front office of losing a couple of key people that they should have kept. And again, my other team, the Royals, I'm looking at those guys, and you look at that fucking roster. Now, to be fair, they've been racked by injuries, man. Their entire the entire infield that started opening day, every one of those guys is on IL right now.
Yeah.
But part of that is because they're losing and they're trying to make plays that they can't make, and they're hurting themselves. And when you look at what they have on their roster, and you're just like, how in the fuck are you guys not winning? At that point, man, you got to start looking at the coaching staff, man, at the manager and everybody on down. And they have burned up some really good young pitchers, man. So anyway, that's my take on it.
And it's as good a take as any. I mean, you know the Royals much better than I do. But yeah, they are not the team they were a couple of years ago. Although I will say I did have great joy watching Salvador Perez, Salvi, truck his tubby ass around the bases for a triple.
He's not speedy.
He looked like
he broke George Brett's home run record.
He looked like he needed oxygen at the end of that triple.
Man, and that's something else. You got to be thinking this has got to be his last year, man. He's 37.
And still catching. That's hell on the knees.
And he plays first base.
Oh, that's right, he does. I know him as a catcher. He's certainly built like a catcher.
And he's as good a first baseman as Pete Alonso was.
Which is always been the big drag on Alonso. He's not as good with the glove as he is with the bat. But you know what? When you're hitting 40, he didn't have to be. When you're hitting 40 home runs a year, you know, catch the ball, don't sweat it, and swing the bat.
And he did that. And he's doing that now for Baltimore.
And he's probably having what for him would be considered a down year in this transition. He's still going to have 35 home runs.
I was going to say he's still doing well. The team isn't doing well, but he's doing okay. Here's the thing, man, we're coming up. I'm going to say this real quick. There seems to me to be a greater gap. There are 5 or 6 teams that are good and they're at the top. Everybody else is bunched in the bottom. There's not a lot of middle teams anymore, man.
And they're well. Actually, I'm not sure I agree with that. There are a lot of clubs clustered around the 500 mark
within 10 games.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But most of them are under that, and I could be wrong, but. From being a kid, I don't remember it being that way.
No, there used to be. I mean,
it used to be distributed top to bottom.
Right, but the game is different. I mean, it wasn't that long ago when everybody played everybody in their league 18 times a year. Now
Right.
Now you've got 12 games against your division, but only 6 games against the rest of your league, and then you have 3 games against everybody else in the other league. Interleague play has sort of,
And
really flattened.
I don't dislike that, but it is a disruption.
It's flattened the records somewhat.
It has.
Right? Because it used to be, if the Braves were playing somebody 18 times a year, they might win 15 of them.
Right.
Because they were that good back in the day. But that naturally meant that somebody else would lose 3 of those 8, would lose 15 of 18. And that would separate top from bottom. Now it's like, well, look at the AL Central. White Sox are in first place, but they're only 5 games over 500.
And I liked your question last week. Where in the fuck did they come from?
Yeah. Anyway, that's a pretty good place to wrap up.
Let me put one more thing in your ear that I want to mention, so we can put it on the agenda for next week. The Royals have a pitcher whose name I'm blanking on. He's only started like 3 games. He's a real rarity in Major League Baseball anymore. He pitches to contact. Let's talk about that next week.
All right. Well, that's a preview. Until we meet again, everybody, this has been the Cosmic Gas Station. I'm Charlie Thomas.
I'm Billy Eli.
One other thing I wanted to throw out there before we go. After the demo episode, a 14-year-old record of yours entered the charts. So somebody's listening.
It did. It got on Airplay Direct, that's the thing radio shows use, and the downloads, that was for radio play.
Wow, that's even better.
Yeah, that's the Airplay Direct is how the radio stations or radio shows get their playlists.
Well, somebody in the radio biz,
14 years old, and it was in their top 50 right after we did.
Somebody heard us, and
so thank y'all.
Yeah. Until next week, have a good one, everybody.
All right, man. Thanks, Charlie. Talk to you soon.
All righty.